getting rid of the spring game and replacing it with Crimson Combine. And we'll discuss those reactions coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. I'm going to try not to be so angry in this segment there, Jay. But let's discuss some of these reactions here.
I know that I'm the complete opposite side of majority of everybody, so I totally get it. Everybody can be mad at me. Just go ahead and blame me in the comments.
All right, here's what Coach Bryson says. We'll start off with the pro side of this. He says, nobody cares about spring game. Only reason we will show up is to see Mateer and have unspoken expectations, seeing our first team score on our third string defense.
That is a very valid point. And that's kind of where I go with when it comes to these spring games. It's overly scripted, and it's first versus third string where you're purposely out there burning somebody for 3 catches for 162 yards, a la Deion Burks. Now, granted, if Deion Burks had a situation where the ball was thrown to him at the proper amount of times like it's supposed to be, yeah, he probably would have that 1,700 yards you were talking about, John. Which now I think this year he has an opportunity because I know he has a quarterback that's willing to throw the ball. We'll talk about John Mateer later this week as people have already started chiming in on him. But to the point of Coach, I disagree that nobody cares because obviously people care. We had 80,000 people show up to Brent Venables' first spring game?
Like 77,000 basically.
77,000. A lot of people. People care. Mm-hmm. But I do think it's less about the game and more about the team. And people are just curious about who's out there and what do they look like. And I think you're still going to get that. You're going to still see dudes in pads. You're going to be like, yeah, that's a mammoth human being.
I just don't know if we'll see dudes in pads.
Got to. Oh, again, we're speculating.
Like. That's not what they're going to do. It's going to be guys in shorts and, skin tight t-shirts running combine drills and doing skills competitions. Like when I mentioned this, the Pro Bowl, it's what the Pro Bowl is now. Maybe
at least the fans get to meet the players.
If we're lucky, maybe we get a flag football game. I'm not feeling lucky though, Jay.
Flag football would actually be so much better for spring in comparison. People would actually run hard.
Maybe a little 7-on-7 competition. You could sell me on that because that's still relevant football in my opinion.
Yeah, they're running fast. They're running hard. I totally take that.
Okay. All right. At least we agree on something in this episode. Sooner Keith says, feels like they're taking something away from the fans while also asking for donations at a record pace. Not good.
I mean, the only games that are actually meaningful are the ones that start in August. This is really just for the fans. And I totally get everyone thinks that they're taking more away, but no, not really. It's August is when it matters. That you don't win playoff games in the spring at all. Now, you could be a paper champion. We've seen that. I mean, truth be told, let's talk about our rival really quickly. Texas had 14 people that could be potentially drafted at the combine. They got all these players and all these dudes setting records as far as like running and stuff. Why didn't they win a Final Four playoff game? That's not a good thing. That actually is kind of an indictment. You had that much talent, you still couldn't win. So, point being, paper championships mean nothing. It's all about how you perform on the actual field against people that actually want to take your head off. I mean, if the quarterback's getting touched and he's considered down, it ain't football.
Yeah, and I get where Keith is coming from on this too, that it seems like there's this bigger push from the administration trying to get more financial investment from the fan base, from businesses, from big-time donors, and then taking something away that everybody kind of loves. And to your credit, wait and see. But are you going to get 50,000 people buying $10 tickets to this event? I don't think so. Now, are they going to have upcharged opportunities where they can continue to generate a little bit more revenue, whether it's autograph signings or, meet and greets and photo ops and things like that, maybe. But then people are going to complain about, okay, $10 in the gate, and then it's another $20 to take a picture with John Mateer, or $50 to get an autograph or whatever. And then it's just like this kind of upselling constantly once they get you inside the gate. Again, wait and see. We'll see. It could be a great experience, especially for the kids, if they can get out on Owen Field and run through some combine-like drills themselves and kind of have that experience. Because I remember going to minor league baseball games as a kid and getting to run the bases on a professional baseball field. Dude, awesome, incredible experience. So like, as much as I don't like adult. This, like the fact that maybe your kids are actually going to get to be on Owen Field and interacting with players, that could be kind of cool. So,
John, I did that running the bases as an adult. That was fun. I loved it when I was in my 20s, but going to a minor league game and being able to put on the field and run the bases, like, oh my goodness, I feel like a big leaguer. Then I realized how much I really sucked at baseball. But at the same time, I got to feel the dirt. It was amazing. We played softball and sucked, but I digress. What else we got?
Larry says, don't care. Just win 10 games. Just win, baby. I agree. If they win 10 games, I don't think anybody's going to care if they had a spring game or not.
At all. None of us will even think about it.
Yep. Sooner 5150 says, stupid. For some folks, this is the only game they can go to due to ticket prices being insane or availability.
That is a very fair statement. Granted, it's not really a game, but yes, that is a very fair statement. It is the one time.
He did put game in quotation marks.
He did put game in quotation marks, and that's actually what I appreciate from Sooner 5150s, that you put them in the quotation marks, because you're 100% right. This is true. If anything, it's the only opportunity for a lot of fans to be able to get into Owen Field. Granted, they'll still be able to go to Owen Field, and in this circumstance, I'm sensing they'll actually be able to go on the field. And if that's the case, you pay $10 to get on Owen Field, maybe get a picture or something somewhere, get a selfie, might make it worth it.
Yeah. I just remember taking my kids, Bray was maybe 2, and then Ellie was, what was she? This is 2022, so she must have been 6 or going on 6. No, she turned 6. And just, it was a fun experience, like, do I want to take a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old to a game in the fall? Probably not. But to a spring game, like, I didn't care that I was missing time waiting in the line trying to get concessions because my kids were hungry, but they got to go experience a football game. So that was kind of fun. All right, moving on. Yorkie says, I like it. Helps keep dudes healthy. Most of the time, the spring game didn't tell us anything about the team at all. I get some of the complaints, but overall, I'm for it. I'm all for it.
I get that too. Now, there is we talked about this for a segment. A lot of people have concerns or questions about injuries. We don't really see many of them there. But at the same time, if your guys are, there's a chance that people can get hurt. So I totally get that aspect. For me, that wasn't really that big of a concern. Granted, you don't have Michael Bowen honestly going out there leveling people or whatnot, coming around the side. But, yeah, I'm going to keep mentioning that. Because that was it was beautiful, and it was also insane to just take your teammate out. But we know that he's going to keep doing that. But yeah, I guess, health is probably the biggest concern, because again, we need to get to 10 wins. If we can get to 10 wins, we're healthy, knock on wood, barring injury, we healthy, we can get to 10 wins.
Yeah. Michael Boganowski is Bobby Boucher. Michael Boganowski's dad, Mike, just replied with a crying kid. But Reggie Power's dad, he doesn't care. He's just excited to go watch his son be on the field. So I think we're getting a good balance of love it, hate it on both sides of this. We'll take one more here. And this comes from T-Bomb 73. He says, no biggie. Been a few years since I've been to one. As long as there is improvement and development during spring, that's all that matters. And listen, I think, regardless of where you stand on this, even if I stand on the hate it side, because I'm a hater, I agree with T-Bomb on this. Ultimately, what matters is development in the spring that puts this team in a position to go win a lot of games in the fall.
That's all I'm saying too. Just win, baby.
Just win. In the immortal words of Al Davis, former Oakland Raiders owner, just win, baby. Can the Oklahoma Sooners build off of a strong 2024 freshman class season? We'll discuss coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.